evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to North Shore Live, Cooper's Corner. We are live this wet and chilly October evening, October 30th, 2019. This is the day before that scary day, which everybody knows is Halloween. And I hope you've got your candy all laid out, or maybe whatever. I don't know what you're putting out for the kids, but it's a really nasty night. This is atypical October weather for Halloween. Usually it's snowing, but I don't think I should have mentioned that word. I think over the weekend they might say something. Anyway, we have two wonderful, and I'm so happy that they're both here, two wonderful guests that are here this evening and are talking about very important items, issues, things that are necessary for the public to know. We have with us Detective Elvin Harona. Detective. We've upped ourselves. We usually just get officer. We get ginger. Wow. But now we are. And Sergeant George Guerrera, correct? Gandera. Oh, thank you for correcting me. And these gentlemen are here to speak of very important issues that are important to the community because it concerns the children. And the best part of this is that none of this costs any money. It's just information for you so you can protect your kids. And Sergeant George is collecting coats, men's, women's, children's, for the veterans. Both these gentlemen are military veterans, and we thank them for their service. Here's 2 stars for 2 of my 3 sons. That one's Army, one's Navy in the military, and they were overseas in combat, which was really nasty. But all combat is nasty. What can I say? So without any further ado, Detective Elvin, you want to talk about Halloween specifically, because that's tomorrow.
Sure.
And we need to know times, when they can, when they can't, what they should do with the candy, or if somebody gives them homemade goods or candied apples. So take it away. You've got the paperwork. I'm just going to listen to you.
All right. Well, hello, Bev. Thanks for having us here.
I'm so pleased. You have no idea.
Well, I am not the Halloween expert, but I did write down a few notes about Halloween and Halloween safety.
Good.
Obviously, we want to make it a enjoyable, pleasant event for the kids and adults as well. So you want me to just go ahead and on in with a few tips?
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, you want to have some safety first, right? So you want to have some kind of a plan with the kids before you send them out or go out with them. You mentioned the weather. It is supposed to be
terrible,
nasty tomorrow, so obviously dress warm.
Nasty. Now, people are going to ask you, what about seeing their costume? And the kids are going to complain they don't want to put a coat on because, or maybe boots, from what I hear is going on, because they won't be able to see the costume, and the girls will have, Cinderella or some princess thing, and they might be wearing little heels, whatever. They can't even walk in them. But what do they do if a coat versus a costume?
Right. Obviously, you want to dress appropriately for the weather. They might have to sacrifice the way their costume looks or appear in order for them to be warm. But hopefully they make the right decision and dress warm. The costumes, as far as visibility, you want to send the kids out with either reflective tape, They got glow sticks that are fairly cheap that you can hang them around your neck with the string, or walk around with a flashlight. Obviously, dress appropriately. You don't want to wear costumes that are maybe too long to where you might trip over yourself while you're out there trick-or-treating. I mentioned the visibility.
Yeah.
You want to go with a group or use the buddy system. Have a plan before you go out there. Nowadays, pretty much everyone has cell phones, so instruct your kids on to dial 911 if they get lost, or if they feel that there's some type of danger, or if they see something they need to report to the police.
Now, will there be police visible or on the streets or in areas, or like in crosswalks or something, or are you just letting the kids or the parents and the kids guide them? Are you going? Is Highland Park Police Department going to be a visible entity out there?
Yes, every Halloween. We don't have extra officers working, but we do instruct the officers to make sure they're out and about, to make sure everyone is safe and nothing happens to the trick-or-treaters. So they will be out and about in the prospective beats, driving around, make sure everyone is safe. As far as crosswalks and stuff, you want to cross, obviously, the street at the crosswalk. You don't want to cross the street in the middle of the street between cars to where a motorist might not see you and have an unfortunate accident. So obviously, be safe when you're crossing the streets. But yeah, the police will be out there. We'll be out there patrolling, make sure everyone is safe.
Okay. We didn't give timelines now. What is the time that they can start, and what is the time that they should be finishing?
So tomorrow, trick-or-treating is set up to go from 3:30 p.m. until 7 p.m.
Okay.
So 3:30 to 7, the sun now goes down
early, yeah.
So early. So 7 o'clock is the cutoff time.
Okay. And what about, some little kids, I had pumpkins, but I gave them away last year. Have little pumpkin things, and so they fill up their, and some kids come with pillow cases.
Pillowcases.
Yeah, they take everything, but there's got to be some kind of a safety watch on what they're taking or what they're receiving. So what would you say to that?
What we suggest is obviously carry a nice, reliable bag that's not going to rip on you. No. The more you fill it up with candy, they get heavy. They tend to get heavy. But once you do collect all the candy that you can, when you get home, make sure that your parents get all the Snickers,
all the Milky Ways,
all the big chocolate bars,
peanut butter cups.
So make sure you have your parents check the packaging, that they're not open, so everything looks safe in order for you to enjoy all those sweets.
What about apples or homemade cookies or stuff like that? What do you feel?
Yeah, you know what? As time goes on, people tend to give those away less and less, right? As far as the edibles, I've seen at least. Yeah. I know my kids, it's been a couple of years since they went trick-or-treating, but you don't see that as often now. But if you do get those, what we would do with our kids, if we would just not eat them, just to be on the safe side. Unfortunately, you got to be a realist. This is 2019. There's some evil people out there, so
they just are not with the excitement of the timeline, and they could be nasty, and we don't want anybody to get hurt or anything. So if you need fresh fruit, you eat fresh fruit in your own house. But to take it from someone and then eat it, you don't know what could be in there. It could be anything.
Correct.
We don't like to say that, but you have to be thoughtful and informational, and that's what this is all about, to be informational. Mm-hmm. You don't have to accept the fruit or cookies or whatever. Sometimes people just give money, nickels, quarters, whatever. That's doable.
Sure.
And tell them to keep the fruit and thank them very much. They're giving something, but it's the safety of the child that we're concerned about.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what about flashlights? Is that a doable item, or just the glow sticks?
Yeah, you can do so many things nowadays. They even have those portable plastic lights that you can tape on your costume. Like I said, glow sticks, flashlights. One, so you can be visible, and two, so you can see where you're going.
Yeah.
So all that helps out.
Now, my kids used to wear the masks, but I was always so afraid because the eyes were never large enough that you could look out of, and the nose where you could breathe, so we had to kind of cut larger openings. But like for Cinderella or for Snow White, the girls, the princesses, would it be better just to put makeup on them instead of having, there's no, restrictions on the face at that point, so they don't have to worry about lifting up a mask to see where they're walking on the ground. So.
Yeah, we would recommend if you could wear some kind of face paint or makeup, like you said. Sometimes those holes on the mask restrict where you're going.
Yeah.
You cannot always see your surroundings.
No peripheral vision.
No peripheral vision. And it's so much more comfortable. The mask, you get all that condensation that builds up. It prohibits
sweat,
your breathing and all that. So if you could wear makeup, face paint, that would be the way to go.
Anything that you could talk about, something funny that happened with you and your kids at an earlier age? I mean, something that's you could tell about? Is it?
Sure. I didn't think you would ask that, but there is one funny story that I'm sure my son won't appreciate too much me telling this story. But he was the baby of the family, and so we were trick-or-treating one year, and he was always wanting to be the first one, right, to get to that next house and get as much candy as he could.
Sure.
So there's kids all over the place, and he's just running in front of us from house to house. We're trying to keep up with him. So he comes up on a group of kids, and, trick or treat. He tells them, and these kids were just taking a break from trick-or-treating, and he thought they were just adults handing out candy. So he was just going out to anyone that he could to trick-or-treat and get candy. So he was really embarrassed, and we never let him forget that day.
Oh, well, that's very understandable.
It was very funny.
Yeah, well, to you it was, because you thought he got caught like that,
Yeah.
What do you think about candy bowls being left outside? Because people just feel, take what you want or how much or one or whatever.
You know what, candy bowls, I never thought that philosophy would work. I never thought that it would work, but you would be surprised how much it does work. Kids nowadays, most of them are going out with their parents, so the parents are trying to teach them the right way to be as honest as possible and to share with everyone. Sure. So you would think that putting out a bowl of candy, it would only last 5 minutes for the first two groups of trick-or-treaters.
For sure.
But you'd be surprised how many kids are honest, and they'll just take one
Maybe
or two.
Yeah.
And sometimes the homeowners come back home and there's still candy left. It does work. It does work. There's still some good people out there.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see it.
Yeah.
and tell it. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it does work.
Yeah, that's good.
You can't participate in handing out candy. You could do the bowl thing.
Put the bowl down. That's good. And any kind of insight if they want to bring their dogs along or pets along? I mean,
obviously, if you want to bring your dog, you want to make sure that it's a well-behaved pet. Right? There's some that are not as well-behaved as others. But if you're going to bring your dog, we recommend to keep them by the sidewalk as the kids go up to the door to trick or treat. Also, the homeowner themselves, that same thing goes for them. If they don't have the most well-behaved animal, they might want to lock them up for an hour or two. So yeah, it works both ways. Try to use some common sense and try to make it an enjoyable experience.
Common sense is very important.
Yes.
And not to walk across the lawns, because what happened last year, what was that? People were staking out little plants or trees, and it was dark. You can't see, unless you have a flashlight. They thought they would cut through the yard, and then the little kids, the princesses, got hung up on the the things that were holding the tree down,
Sure.
and they walked into it. You can't see it. It's dark. From the house to the street, it's pretty dark. Not every street has a lamppost on it, and when night falls out here, it is really dark.
It is.
It is dark. So,
there are some very dark neighborhoods and streets out there.
So they need to walk from the sidewalk up to the house and back the same way. Do not cut corners. It's a safety. It's
Correct.
for your safety, really. It's for your safety. George, any kind of input from trick-or-treating that you want to jump into here? You're for vets, veterans and coats, but we all participate in Halloween.
The only thing I could add is maybe just keep an eye on your kids, and also the buddy system.
The buddy
go
system.
up in a group.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, like you said, there are evil people out there and predators who are looking for maybe a lonely child. So
a single
just be careful and
participant.
yes.
How many do you suggest with the buddy system?
Oh.
3, 5? Well, how many?
Well,
how much is too much, or how much is not enough?
I guess it depends on the age group,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Obviously, the younger the kids, the bigger group, the better.
Yeah.
I would say 3 or more.
They should always have at least 2 parents with, let's say a group of 5 or 6, so they can keep their eye on them. Because when you start getting, let's say you get 12 kids,
that's a lot.
It would be, yeah.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, you'd have to have maybe, I would say 3 or 4 adults for 12,
And you probably would have to use a wagon for the little ones.
Yes, that's true.
Put the little ones in the wagon and take the wagon
most definitely.
along. Yeah, that would be.
And then teenagers, they usually go in a group of 6 or,
Yeah.
So, but like you said, they're big enough where they can, they're
And is there an
comfortable.
age requirement on this? He said teenager, and I click, 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 click. I brought back memories with the kids, with my own. What is too old to go out?
That's hard to say, right? That's hard to say, because kids, obviously, they want to get us, see how long I can take this. See
Get
how
free
long,
candy,
Free candy.
Yeah.
But then they get into that awkward age where, I don't want to be seen out there by my friends, or I might seem a little too old to go trick-or-treating.
Really?
So as far as there being a cutoff, that's hard to say.
Usually, what do you think? I might say maybe between 17 and 20. That's when everybody stops, and then after 21, they'll go to the adult parties.
They go to the parties,
Yeah.
but sophomore, junior in high school, that's doable.
I've seen them. I've seen them come to the house, even as old as maybe freshman, sophomore in high school. But that's usually when it tends to.
Well,
to
maybe
cut
they're
down.
taking their little sister or little brother.
That too, yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
I've seen a lot of
that's,
that. They take their little brother and sisters or their cousins. Yeah. Well, on my area, I've seen the kids grow up. So when they were 6, 7, and now they're 16,
That's
17,
right.
and they're
You'd be
they still remember what house gave this and
Yeah,
that, though.
you'd
So
be
they'll still come,
surprised.
and they know me. So
What about what's your thought about hazing on the houses or trees or whatever? TPing a tree. What about that?
We haven't seen too much of that. It seems like back in our day, you used to see a lot of that, right? They the kids would not get the right amount or the right candy from the house, so they would egg the house or TV the house.
Or the cars, oh man.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays parents are trying to do a good job of keeping everyone safe. So you don't see a lot of that nowadays. So I think you as a homeowner, I think to prevent that, you might want to leave that bowl out there.
Leave the bowl out.
Right. That's you can use that as a crime prevention against your own property.
Crime prevention tool.
Keep them happy.
Keep them happy. Yeah. Well, but you don't think they'll get a sugar high from all that chocolate?
No, like I said, I've been here for many years now, and I could probably count on one hand how much, if any, houses that have gotten TP'd or anything on Halloween. Very little, very small number.
Well, I don't know. Generational, does it follow like a generational situation? Last generation did it, this generation doesn't do it, and then it continues on.
Could be. That's possible, yeah. But I haven't seen too much of that.
I don't know if I should ask this. Have you ever done that?
No.
I mean,
it's too much work.
It is.
It's too much work.
You have to go climb a tree and stuff like that. We did strange things.
Sure.
Here we go.
But I'm not going to get into that. But the guys usually did it, not the girls. The guys, and they, if they didn't get like you said, the right candy, or someone was dating someone else, then they would egg the windows and TP the trees and whatever else. And it was, early in the day, and they would do this. It doesn't mean it had to be, midnight at night. So
right.
I mean, we pretty much covered not all the safety issues, but is there anything in particular that we should be looking out for if we, as parents, grandparents are, and we see them, when they ring the doorbell, and if we see something, awry or something, what should we do? I mean, we just we don't know these kids. They're from another area. The scuttlebutt was out that there was like a busload of kids coming in from, all other parts of Lake County, and being dropped off specifically in areas. We didn't know who these kids were. Usually, who's in your neighborhood. And so what should we do if they get rowdy or something? Should we, call the police, or what should we do with that? I mean, it's Halloween, so where does that line fall that we should
right. That's
consider a safety issue?
Yeah, that's tough, right? You got to try to use your best judgment in a situation like that. If you see kids maybe harassing other kids, you might want to notify the police and something like that. As far as kids from other town coming, your neighborhood gives out the best candy around, so the word gets out.
They know, yeah.
But they, at the end they are kids, and hopefully that's all they're doing is just collecting candy.
Okay.
But if you see someone that might be might be getting in danger, or kids getting too rowdy,
or any kind of malicious,
right, damaging property or stuff like that, you definitely want to call.
You don't want to think about it. You don't want to put it the first on your mind, but things happen that you don't really think about, but they do happen, and you don't know until the following morning when there's light and you can see what has transpired.
It does happen, and people need to understand that not necessarily because you call the police each time, that means that someone's going to get arrested, right? We're out there to also protect property and preserve the peace.
Yeah.
So, we don't mind going out there and if a group of kids are causing trouble, there's nothing wrong with going up to them and talking to them, and usually that stops the issue.
Because if they're older teenagers and you've got like about 6 of them, and these are guys, and they ring your doorbell, I mean, you want to be safe and be happy and have fun and things, and you offer them candy, and maybe they take slight to it, and these are not kids of our neighborhood, then, you know, because we could always say, you know, your son came by with a bunch of kids last night, and he knocked over the plant or knocked over the pumpkin, and he could have had a little bit more decorum about it than what he did. But these are kids that we don't know, so how do you react? What do you, I mean, even if you talk to them and tell them, you know, you're happy to give them more candy or whatever, but what if they're just rowdy? What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, and at that point, you know, when there's no more fun at it for both the homeowner handing out the candy, because it should be fun for everyone.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't see, you know, there's no problem with go ahead and calling the police. Maybe the police can have a talk with them. Try to remember which direction they're going.
Yeah.
The size of the group is.
Remember, it's dark, and it's
right.
Well, if you can't, try to remember what costumes they're wearing, what they're
Costumes,
wearing.
Costume.
Maybe
how
heights.
Good.
You know.
I didn't even think of that, George. That's a wonderful idea. Think of what costumes they wear. Well, you know, maybe they're not wearing a costume, but they just have a mask.
Sure.
So then, you know, then
Clothing.
clothing.
And then it's another thing. If they're in dark clothing, well,
Yeah.
you know, they might
How you gonna find 'em?
they might be up to shenanigans, but
Yeah.
But it makes it easier for us too. As you say, there's a group of people here with dark clothing. That shouldn't be hard to spot.
Yeah, yeah, that's something. Now,
Before I forget,
Yes.
before we move away from the safety thing, I do have to mention this website.
sure.
So the Illinois State Police, they have a website, is www.isp.state.il.us/SOR/. It's a database that lists the registered sex offenders
Okay.
in your area. You go to the website, and I'm sure you can Google it as well, and you punch in your zip code, and it'll give you the list of registered sex offenders in the area. So that way you can take that list with you. Obviously, you want to avoid those homes.
That
you know.
placement, okay. Is that for just Lake County?
That's well, Lake County for sure does it. The whole entire state does it. But if you punch into the area that the zip code, the area where you're going to be trick or treating,
Okay.
you punch in that zip code, and it'll
That'll
spit it
tell you,
out. It'll
pops
tell
up.
you the address.
Okay.
So you want to stay away from those homes, obviously.
Okay. That was a very good thing to, you know, bring forward. So, anything else on your little goodie sheet there that you?
Let's see. I think we've covered all the main points.
What about pumpkins? Do we mention anything about pumpkins? If they're lit or have a candle in them, then what do we do? I mean, providing, I don't know if it's going to be rainy, is that going to have any effect on the pumpkin or the kids wanting to touch it because it's got a candle in there?
As far as the pumpkins that the homeowner might have out for display,
outside, yeah.
yeah, obviously stay away from them.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
Raining or not.
Right here.
Raining or not. Yeah, you want to respect people's property and respect their display that they're having out there for Halloween. Yeah, but like you said, stay on the sidewalk, stay on the path, stay away from the grass.
Yeah, don't cut across the lawns because you don't know what's there, holding down a tree or a little rock garden. If that's not your area that you're used to, you know, you could trip, you could fall, you could hurt yourself. And again, like you said, dress accordingly to the weather. And the costumes, I mean, you know, that's one thing, but your safety and, you know, this weather is so, I mean, you could catch a cold or get the flu or whatever. I mean, you want people to see what you're wearing, but that's why I always got like 2 sizes larger with everything, because they had their coat on underneath, and then they would put the, Batman or Robin or whatever on over it. They could see what it was, but yet they weren't constricted on how they could walk or move their arms, and would be warm and safe. So that's important to know. So
you might also want to put on a light on outside. And as far as the candles and the pumpkins, I don't use real candles anymore. I just maybe put one of these lights that you click it on and it goes on. But I would suggest that the more light you have in front, though, that might also help the kids walk up the pathway.
See, that. I mean, it's like hypnotizing when you see that candle flickering in there, and when you have just a light or even plastic, But if the kids go to the trouble to carve the pumpkin and they put the candle in there, then that's enticing to want to. You always want to touch.
Well, yeah,
something,
sure, of course.
But and even if you put the top on, carve that around, you can put the top on. But with the rain, I think.
Well, that's why I use the plastic light, but it's up to you.
Yeah, well, that would be smart. And a plastic, and I don't think with as much light from like a porch light or whatever, that would shine on the pumpkin as if you had one of those little.
Well, you put them out farther.
Put it out,
yeah. Like if you have a porch, you put them on the ends, or they can actually put them on the pathway. That's why I use plastic also, because I wouldn't want a little kid going in there and burning his hand. If they touch the plastic, Yeah,
I want to make sure you want to keep them out of the way.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, definitely. That's why I said on the sides, and it lights their way.
So this is Halloween 2019. Can't believe it's 2000.
Yeah, really.
Good golly, this is just, and they haven't changed. There's still monsters and still Frankenstein and still princesses and still Cinderella. And anything else we should look out for? I mean, is there something that you've come across or you know of?
Well, now I think the big thing now is all the superhero movies. So those are hot costumes now. You know which costume I do like, but it's more for grown-ups. It's the where it appears that one person's on top of the other, but it's one costume, so it looks like someone's on your back. But that's more for grown-ups. But I think you still see your traditional costumes, right? Your witches, your zombies, your Dracula.
Yeah, with the capes, sure.
With the capes. You still see those.
Yeah, you have a favorite? I mean, you just mentioned your favorite, but I mean, do you think the kids like those kinds of, I mean, there are the costumes that just have, I mean, you put this whole mask on your head. It covers the whole head. It's not just in the front. It covers the whole head. I don't know how they breathe in that, but that's, that's like, who's the one with the...
Michael Myers.
That's it.
That'll never go out of style.
Yeah,
no,
that's a classic.
For sure.
It's a classic.
For sure.
That's like Dracula, or the witch,
Yeah.
Never goes out of style.
And it's easier, I think, to put on that makeup because...
sure, yeah. Just paint your face white.
Paint your face. You don't even have to wear
yeah.
See, that's good. Yeah, that's... and so we have... this is like a two-part because George was kind enough to come up tonight, and you will see him next week because we are doing a gathering of coats for men, women, and children, whatever, for the vets, and we definitely want to help them. I mean, these are our heroes. These are our warriors. They went to fight, and some were injured badly, and they've just not been able to get back into society. And so, George, you're on. I mean, this is what you're doing now. And you should mention you are a police officer for going on 30 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And
law enforcement. Mm-hmm.
And you were in the military for what,
23 years.
23 years. So, I mean, you've been there, you've seen the action, and you've seen what, unfortunately, society can do, and to be helpful, and that's what we want to do. It's just the whole idea of this program is to be helpful to everyone, whatever we can do,
yes, ma'am.
Veterans and alike. So,
yeah. Well, our program started out, this one here with the Lake County Law Enforcement Veterans Coat Drive was started about maybe, I think it was maybe 8 to 7 years ago. I hadn't lived in the neighborhood because, like I said, I'm from Chicago originally. And working at apartments there, when I was on patrol, you'd see a lot of homeless people, or being police officers, sometimes we'd have to, tell them to move along, or clean up after themselves. But a lot of times, even though still, I would get them something to eat if they were cold or hungry, But then what I started noticing more was that a lot of them were veterans,
yeah.
And I was just like, wow, I couldn't understand why they were on the streets, I mean, I had my problems, and, I just felt bad. So I was seeing more homeless veterans and younger people, and then also women,
Yeah.
And then that's when I was really surprised. So what happened was this program started about 7, 8 years ago. What they were doing is they started just collecting a coat drive. I've been the chairperson for this coat drive for the last 3 years. I started my own coat drive. I'm the commander of Libertyville Post 8741, and I've been doing that for 5 years. The coats that we collect there go to Lake County veterans, also Chicago, and we've also gone to different states with my partner Lon Hodge and his service dog Gander. This one here for Lake County, though, is completely run by all the law enforcement and police departments in the area. Let me stop by saying we set up donation boxes, collection boxes, where civilians or anybody can come in and just go to the front desk. There'll be a box there with this kind of a sign there, and it'll say, homeless coat drive.
Did they see it?
I'll pass one out to you later on.
Okay.
And let me give you a list of the departments where this will be held at. The first one is Lake County Sheriff's Office, and that's at 25 South Martin Luther King Drive in Waukegan. That's the courthouse area. The next one would be the Lake County Sheriff's Office at 1301 North Milwaukee Avenue at Libertyville, right off of Winchester Road. That's a larger building also. Also at the Lake County State's Attorney's Office at 18 North County Street in Waukegan. We'll also have it at the Bannockburn Police Department, 2275 Telegraph Road in Bannockburn. The Barrington Police Department, that is located at 400 Northwest Highway in Barrington. Also Deerfield Police Department, and that's at 850, Waukegan Road in Deerfield. Then we have Gurnee Police Department, 100 North O'Plain Road in Gurnee. We also have Hawthorne Woods Police Department, 2 Lagoon Drive in Hawthorne Woods. We have the Highland Police Department at 1677 Old Deerfield Road here in Highland Park.
We're here.
Mm-hmm. We have the Lakeville Police Department at 65 Cedar Avenue in Lakeville. Of course, we have Libertyville Police Department. That's at 200 East Cook Street in Libertyville. We have the Mundelein Police Department at 221 North Lake Street in Mundelein. Round Lake Park Police Department at 215 East Main Street in Round Lake Park. Also, the Vernon Hills Police Department, that's at 754 Lakeview Parkway in Vernon Hills. And last, we have the Winthrop Harbor Police Department, that's at 830 Sheridan Road in Winthrop Harbor. And this will be, well, it's already obviously started, but The coats will be collected until November 21st.
Okay, so there's time.
And then after we collect all the coats, we take them down to a Midwest Veterans Closet, and that's at 2323 Green Bay Road in North Chicago. And to tell you about the Midwest Veterans Closet is an organization that started out about 6 years ago, and the director is Mary Carmoni. She started this organization, which is really quite unique and more different than any of the other veterans agencies, because it being called the Veterans Closet means that anybody can come in, any veteran, homeless veteran, or if not, and they can pick out any coats, any suits if we have, any clothing. We also have kitchen appliances, dishes, spoons, forks, smaller items, because what we also do is we help military that are transitioning from military life to the civilian life, but also people who go to the VA at the Lovell Health Center, and they may be in certain kind of treatments, and once they get out on the streets, they may be able to get an apartment or a house, but of course they don't have anything to start out with, right? So the veterans can come here at 2323 Green Bay Road and just prove that they're a veteran, by showing perhaps maybe a VA ID card, if they're a member of the VFW Post, if they have a DD-214, or veteran, American Legion Post, any or military organization, or under license, veteran,
now,
we'll be more than happy to help them out. They get everything for free.
Oh, it's
everything that you get there is free to any honorably discharged veteran.
Okay, that's just what I was going to say, because I don't want a middleman in there. If I'm going to give, clothing, I would prefer to give it and to make sure that the recipient is the one that's going to be getting it.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Another thing that's unique about our Midwest Veterans Closet is that everything that is collected, from coats to monetary, cash or whatever, it all goes 100% to the veterans. Comes in directly. We check everything out, make sure that it's serviceable, and clean, and then we put it on the shelves. The veterans come in, goes right to them.
Is there anything in particular? I mean, are you looking for larger sizes or smaller sizes?
Well, we like
women's sizes.
Yeah. Well, what we would like is probably larger size male, and extra large. Also, large and perhaps medium-sized coats for females, because unfortunately we have a lot more female veterans out there, and also surprisingly, we've seen some in the campgrounds and in cars that are living with their children. So we would like. I know it's sad. I know. Well, and we try to help them also by directing them to the VA and other agencies.
And
so we need children's coats, hats, boots, gloves, scarves, and also socks. Socks are very important, of various sizes, and that's also for the females and male veterans also. And a lot of times, like I said, a big part of the clothing that we collect does go to a large amount of veterans, homeless veterans, but unfortunately, there's a lot of the younger junior grade enlisted personnel in the armed forces who are not really getting paid that much. So even though they have their own areas where to shop, sometimes they don't have enough money. They got to choose food or clothing. So we also help out active duty military and retirees.
That's terrific. Now, what did you say the lady's name was?
The director's name is Mary Carmody. Mary Carmody. If you can look it up, Midwest Veterans Closet. It's on the website, and it'll come up.
And
she's a director, and Miss Carrie.
Is she a vet herself, or?
No. That's what's also very unique about this program. She's not a veteran. I don't believe she has anybody that was a veteran in her family. However, she came from overseas with her parents here, and obviously, they were so happy to be here and to get their freedoms that they received, that she just feels that she
wanted to do
owes
something
it to the veterans for basically at that time, saving the nation from Nazism and communism.
That's terrific.
And that's why she started this program to help out veterans. And she
Wow.
felt that no veteran should have to really pay for a
That's
coat
right.
or anything because,
Of the service that they
signed,
gave.
Yeah,
That's
they signed that dotted line and they raised our right hand. And,
That's right. That's
you
right.
you may give up a leg, an eye,
Terrible.
or your life,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why she does it.
That's remarkable.
And Ms. Carrie Price is also like the assistant director, and she runs.
We
the
should
whole
have
area
her on the
also.
program.
I was thinking of I'll
Bring
probably
her with for next
I'll probably
week.
contact them.
Wow, that'll be good. That will be good. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is done all year long, or just
No. This is only done between September and November. So usually we put out the boxes like maybe September 18th, September 21st, and it goes till November 21st, sometimes November 22nd. Now that's this program here with the Lake County Law Enforcement Veterans Coat Drive.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, I started a program with My Liberty Post, VFW Post 8741, our collection, and of course, like I said, this is primarily in Libertyville. We go to all the businesses in Libertyville, Harley Davidson, Indian Motorcycle, O'Toole's Tavern, Morgan's Bar and Grill, Casa Bonita Mexican Restaurant, Libertyville Barbershop, which is, all these people, they've supported us for,
Terrific.
5 years now.
Wow.
And there's a lot of people that are very giving, and that's what I like about this program, Libertyville and all the surrounding, suburbs. There's wonderful people who give. A lot of times, they'll give coats and socks and boots, that still have the price tags on. They actually, because you can go out and clean your closet and get the nice, tidy things and the things that are serviceable and donate them. But I'm really surprised that we get brand new things, and
Good.
It's like, wow, it hits me because I'm like, wow,
Sure.
just great people. So so this program is run from September 16th in Libertyville to, usually we go till December 19th. But like I said, in Libertyville, some of the people, they'll say, keep the box here. Because we try to give the coats by, Christmas. So they'll have, and then also, it starts getting colder in November.
Cold, sure.
But usually by Christmas, we want to be able to, help people and, have the veterans, hey, you're not forgotten. There's people out here in the civilian world that still love you and they care for you and they respect you, But our program, sometimes, like I said, it'll go up till February 14th. Because the shop owners or the tavern owners
Continue it, as long as the weather is cold and.
Oh yes, ma'am. Well, that's why I said the local businesses, they'll allow us to be there till February 14th.
Now the places, the police departments that you mentioned, those all have boxes for you to donate.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, what do the boxes look like?
All the boxes are square cardboard boxes. They would probably.
They have American flag or something on it, or?
I'll get there. The boxes look like I don't know if a lot of people move, but they're like square coat rack boxes where if you would put suits and coats and you would pack them in the box, they have the hanger holder and you would box them up and ship them that way or move them. So the boxes are there. They don't have the coat rack though. And what you do is you fold them in and put them in there. Like I said, they'll have this sign on them. And it has the American flag, and the person saluting has a listing of all the police departments and who's sponsoring us this year. And the one in Libertyville, of course, has our Libertyville VFW, post, and of course it says new or gently used coats, boots, thermal underwear, etc.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, all the boxes are, like I said, about maybe 4 feet high.
And do you go into the stations and?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I've given everybody my cards, and what they do is they'll call us, or if they'd like to, they can call me and we'll go together, depending on how many bags of clothing. Because sometimes we have like 12,
the leaf
15
bags,
large
big
bags.
leaf bags,
So we'll take 2 cars,
Oh, for sure.
But they can contact me and I'll come pick them up, or they can take them.
That's really,
It is. That's awesome.
Isn't that terrific? I mean,
awesome.
It's a very rewarding thing for us to do.
It's remarkable what you do, George. Really, it's remarkable. A lot of people think they want to do that, but they figure, let somebody else.
Someone else can do it.
Let somebody else do it. you know, if you've got the calling to do it, you're helping humanity. You're helping humanity.
Well, and also the way I feel is also the reason I started out. Well, number one, because like I said, there's fellow veterans and people that have gone through some of the experiences, or maybe even worse experience than I have, and you know,
Elvin, yeah.
and you know, sometimes they fall in hard times, you know, and you know, we have our code. You know, we leave no man behind. We leave no female behind. That's a military member. So this is some way where at least, you know, I can help them in some way. I mean, because a lot of people are out there, you know, they're fighting for their survival.
Absolutely.
So in the other program with the VFW with me and Lon Hodge, what we do is we also collect camping gear, sleeping bags, thermal underwear, food, and we go to the different homeless camps in Lake County, Chicago, and of course, like I said, other different states. And a lot of these camps are also, unfortunately, near a lot of military bases where we've served. And you know, you wouldn't think about it, but where else can they go? Because they still feel that tie.
That's connected.
Yeah, you know. But you know, it's an honor to continue my service to my, you know,
to your
my
country.
Marines,
You're
my
doing.
Marines and my soldiers,
you are.
You know.
That's awesome.
You are really.
And,
it's
my people, my
military
people, and other people.
Were you overseas?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did they send you?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. I'll name off the good tours first. I've been to Germany, Spain.
Oh wow.
Well, Paris.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Czech Republic, Prague. I've also was in Panama, Honduras, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, along the border of Iraq, southern Iraq, the Philippines.
Really?
Yes.
Alvin, where were you? Were you overseas?
I was stationed in Germany
Yeah.
for a little bit, Desert Storm.
Oh yeah.
So Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and then I was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas.
Yeah, well.
Your first calf?
Yeah, first calf.
First
of the night, man. I served with them too overseas. Right
look
on,
at this.
Small world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Small world. Look at that. Incredible. It's incredible that you know, we feel this draw to another one who has served, because they know. I mean, I'm a mother of those who serve, so we know what the family goes through.
Yes, ma'am, especially.
Big sacrifice.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, they sacrifice also.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them suffer in silence.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of them, they just don't want to talk. They just feel they're happy that they got back, and they don't want to talk, and that's it. And but the whole idea is you can't keep that. You know, maybe they're having nightmares or problems getting along in society. You know, everything's got to be just right. You can't just blow your top. You know, whatever. But the people don't know what that one has seen. You know,
yes, ma'am. And that's what we also offer with the Midwest Veterans Closet and Operation Fetch. Is you know, we see a lot of people. Well, and actually, I've had, like I said, I've had my issues and my problems. But I know for some reason, number one, I didn't know I had a problem, and of course, I didn't want to share with anybody because, like I said, you know, we're used to being guarded.
Yeah,
we have our armor.
Absolutely. Yeah,
we
guarded.
Take care of ourselves and we take care of each other. Now, there was another veteran there, or another police officer, or a firefighter.
Yeah.
You know, for some, well, you know, we can talk to each other because, you know, we put our lives on the line, so we understand each other, you know, and we know of some of the things that we've experienced and seen, you know. But a lot of times, you know, you just can't relate to a civilian, and if you don't want to share that with your family. Some of the things you've seen and done are horrible. So you don't want to share that with your family. But there's also, like I said, there's great programs up here at Lovell. Dr. John Patrick Beer personally saved my life. He saved the life of about maybe, at least over 36 combat veterans.
Wow.
You know, so at the Midwest Veterans Closet and here at Operation Fetch, you know, we direct them to get the help that they need. And also, that's another reason why we're also helping them out on the streets is, you know, because some of them are, you know, they can't function in society.
Bring them in.
We try to bring them in.
Bring them in.
That's awesome.
And, give them a meal, and
that's how it starts for
I want to connect with the owners of the Full Moon because they are outstanding. The Full Moon that's up in Lake Bluff, I think it's Lake Bluff, the restaurant.
North Chicago.
Restaurant, that's what I thought. Oh, yeah, okay.
Because the Full Moon restaurant for Thanksgiving, I think it's Thanksgiving.
Yes, ma'am.
And Christmas, but I'm not sure. There's no charge.
Oh, wow.
For service members,
I'll have to get that
it's incredible that they are able to get a hot meal.
Yes,
and,
ma'am. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
That's just terrific. I think those are unsung heroes that no one knows about.
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
I will connect with them because
please give me that information also.
I think people need to know that they put themselves out, and they're open 24 hours a day.
Oh, wow. Even better.
And you come in for Thanksgiving, they don't charge. They show you a seat, they give you a hot meal, hot soup, coffee, dessert. They've done their service to those warriors who protected other countries and our own. They're wonderful people, wonderful
really
people.
I'm glad you told me about that.
Yeah, they're very quiet about it. They don't say anything.
Yeah, most people
but
are.
I will make sure. Yeah, because they deserve not only accolades, and they deserve the knowledge that other people know that they're doing a good deed, and that it's real easy to rub off a good deed for someone else.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
So if you can do that, if they can do this, what is it that you can do to help somebody? Very, very wonderful. Very, very wonderful. We've this hour has gone so quickly. If you've not been on before, but this hour has gone so quickly.
Sure.
And he would say, "Oh, I don't know what to talk about. What should I say?" And, George, you're coming on next week. I mean, we can't.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Really appreciate
you are here. You will talk.
Yes, ma'am.
You will.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Listen, it's been fun. It's been absolutely a delight. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. It was our pleasure.
Your hands are warm too, and so am I. Well, we want to thank you all for allowing us in your home, your place of business. Remember, tomorrow is Halloween, October 31st, and 2019. Dress your kids warm. Just be realistic, and protect them, because this is the future. And for a couple of pieces of candy, I think we can all say, thank God that everybody's safe. So have a pleasant evening, a wonderful week. Stay safe, and see you next week on North Shore Live, Cooper's Corner. And George is going to be on talking about the Veterans Closet and Coats for Veterans. If you have any and you are near any of these police stations, please drop in your coats, hats, mittens, scarves for those that are less fortunate. Please think of others. I know it's the Christmas season that's coming, and we all need everyone's help. So thank you for watching. Have a good evening, and God bless you all for all the good work that you do that people aren't aware of. Good evening.